Hi, my name is Crystal, and I will be giving you a brief overview of one of the 5 data collection approaches, document record review. This approach takes advantage of existing data, making it easier to gather the data in question since it is already available. This approach is one of the most cost-effective because the data is already accessible. One of the strengths of the document record review approach is that it is an unobtrusive method because the data has already been gathered and it is already available for your review. This data can consist of minutes of meetings, logs, announcements, formal policy statements, letters, and other useful documents that can paint a more or less complete picture of the group being studied. Using this approach means you work with what is already available within the community you are studying, and you don't have to bother anyone to collect data. The researcher looks at the data and finds patterns. Another strength is that the procedure is clear to the reader. If any doubts exist, the information can be cross-checked by someone else. Also, it provides an opportunity to perhaps discover issues that can only be visible through examination of data. One of the weaknesses of document record review is that the data could be misinterpreted. Since the researcher is just reviewing the data that has already been gathered by others, they could infer an erroneous meaning from the data they are reviewing. Another weakness is that the existing data could be so out of date that it is no longer applicable, or it could be that it has not been organized and is therefore unavailable. Another weakness is that the researcher could be relying on information that has survived because it was convenient to keep it, while other data that was not so convenient has been discarded. If this is the case, then the information the researcher is reviewing could be biased. And one other weakness that I found of the document record review approach is that it can be quite time-consuming to collect, review, and analyze so many documents. A scholar would use the document record review data collection for evaluation approach in order to gather background data. Reviewing existing documents of an organization reveals that organization's history, philosophy, and operation of the program being evaluated. Another reason a scholar would use this approach is to determine if implementation of the program reflects program plans. It may turn out that the program being evaluated is not being implemented with fidelity and therefore not meeting its proposed goals. Before proceeding with the rest of the evaluation, a scholar would want to find out if there is a discrepancy between what the program claims it will do and what it is actually doing. A third reason a scholar would use this approach is to develop a deeper understanding of the program and organization being evaluated that will allow them to create the type of questions that will allow them to find qualitative data for a more complete picture. The last example of when a scholar would use the approach is in order to gather data that reveals what has been used to track data, what events have taken place, and how many participants are involved. Examples of the types of documents a scholar might look through to conduct a document or record review include work plans, activity logs, meeting minutes, attendance sheets, quarterly or annual reports, medical records or forms, newsletters, news media, program publications, existing database records, surveillance data reports. At a middle school where I taught a few years ago, we used to keep bathroom logs. Every time a student asked for permission to go to the bathroom, they would write their name, the date, the time they left the classroom, and the time they came back. Usually the student counselor would end up conducting a document or record review of these bathroom logs to investigate an incident such as school or bathroom vandalism or to look for patterns amongst students who were having behavioral or academic issues. They had security guards all over campus, and they used to periodically monitor the bathrooms and the hallways, and they would also keep a record of the time that they walked by, and if the walls were clear, if there was any vandalism. That way, as soon as the vandalism happened, they knew that it had happened within a particular time slot, and that way they could go and investigate from the bathroom records, the bathroom logs, who had exited the classroom during that time slot and narrow it down to those particular students. The students thought they were simply writing their names on a piece of paper, and little did they realize that they were providing the staff with very valuable and useful data. I do feel this was the best approach to use compared to the other approaches, because this data would help triangulate other red flags such as referrals, absences, tardies, and low academic grades. It doesn't mean that just because a student goes to the bathroom, they will perform poorly academically or that they will vandalize school property. But the patterns may reveal that the student could benefit from some sort of intervention or support if we discover that, for example, they are signing out to go to the bathroom during every period of the day. If the student counselor is trying to investigate who vandalized the bathroom during a specific time, document and record review would be the best choice. Interviews would not work so well in this case because you would not know who to interview. However, by conducting a document review, we could narrow it down to whichever students the bathroom logs reveal were out of the classroom during the specific time of the incident. Focus groups would be kind of silly to conduct because the purpose would be to find out who vandalized school property, not for the suspects to formulate their thought and opinions regarding the incident through a safe, small group setting. Focus groups seek to gain insight into a topic, and here we are not trying to figure out why someone vandalized a bathroom, but rather who vandalized it. Observations would require human resources that are just not available. No school is going to hire a bathroom attendant to observe who is vandalizing the bathroom. Student work analysis is meant to help teachers identify gaps in student achievement and helps teachers drive their instruction. So this approach would not be helpful in investigating who vandalized the bathroom either. Unless the student work has the same exact type of graffiti that matches what was etched into the bathroom mirrors, then it could prove useful. But the most useful approach would definitely be to conduct data collection through the document or record review approach, which proved to be very useful during my years at the middle school where I used to teach. Thank you for your time and for listening to each of our screencasts. I hope you have enjoyed how my colleagues and I have put all the pieces of the puzzle together by giving you an overview of each of the data collection approaches.